Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Arcade Tirade, the podcast that's all about video games.
Really?
This is the podcast game pod, video game podcast. This is a podcast all about video games. I'm your host, Zuver.
Hey, I'm Phantom Outlaw.
And this is an episode. We're gonna do an episode, and it's gonna go straight. It might go bad. It might go good. It might go. Yeah.
I just know it'll go.
I don't even know.
All we can promise. I think.
Yeah, we're gonna do stuff. We're gonna move. I don't know where we're going. I don't know which direction it's gonna go. I don't even want to do like the normal news block format or anything. I just want to do the Randomsode, or maybe, yeah, the Randomsode. What do you think? What do you think of that?
Well, here's a random thought. If you get a chance, look up Candy Loving. I think that's her name.
What does she do?
She was a playmate back in the 70s. Most likely she's going to be my new avatar when I crop it and everything.
I, too, am a candy lover. Now, that's strange. Her Wikipedia article doesn't have any pictures.
I guess you have to put in...
Wikipedia is a bunch of sissies.
Exactly. Put...
Her tits are bigger than her head.
Yeah.
This is an all-audio podcast, folks, so for visual aid, you're going to have to Google this yourself.
Jeff, exactly. It'll be worth the Googles.
So what happened to her? I mean, obviously she got older.
I don't know. I was, how did I even come upon it? I think I was just looking up Playboy hardcover books. I remember seeing once before, like when I was in college. I was like, I wonder if they still sell these things or if I can find them anywhere. And so when I was searching, they just had a bunch of 70s playmates pop up. And that one caught my eye instantly. I was like, oh shit. I've been searching that chick ever since, like, I mean, the crazy week I've been having. I need to see that. I needed to see that.
I'm just looking at a more recent picture. If you Google Candy Loving now, on the second row, there's a couple of them. Apparently, she really loved the candy.
Oh no! Because I've been trying to find those, but I could.
That bad, but she's not supermodel weight. It looks like.
Yeah, I think I was trying to look for recent pictures and I couldn't find anything.
Yeah, if you look up Candy Loving now, there's one with CNN logo by her, and I don't know, maybe.
Oh, is that her?
She's not.
I did see that picture.
She's not really that overweight, but I mean, that's what happens with most people eventually. But damn, so wait, what was her time then? The 80s? Looks like the 80s.
No, 70s.
70s, that's right.
It could have probably into the 80s, but
What was I watching the other day? How do you make this thing big again? Here we go. What was I watching the other? I was watching it was Oliver Stone's Untold History of the United States. And I watched it's strange to watch videos from like the 70s, the 80s, the 90s and to like see the difference but then realize it wasn't that long from that time to that time.
Oh, I know,
just
yeah.
Like how the quality of the videos changed, the fashions changed. You know what I was watching the other day were some clips of like 70s, 60s, 70s, and 80s baseball games.
Yeah.
It's so funny, the old black and white ones where they've got like this really crude text that they just show every now and then. They didn't have anything else on the screen, so you didn't know like who was out, how many runs and whatnot.
Right.
And if you didn't catch it, you were fucked.
Well, that's where the broadcast had to really do a good job of explaining or broadcasting what was going on. If you didn't have anything to visually look at, stat wise and stuff like that, like they can just flash everything on the screen now. You know,
Yeah.
another thing, since you mentioned that too,
I mean, you know stuff you don't want to know now.
well, I know, but I remember when the TV and the TV screen in the TV, like you had, you know, what do they call it, TV and TV screen, where you had your big screen and then, I mean, your regular screen, and then in the corner you could be looking at another channel while you're looking at whatever you're looking at. So it's two screens in one. One is smaller, and you got your regular screen.
Yeah, I've seen those, but then they eventually had the second screen appear on the screen, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about that. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Can't you still do that?
No, that's what I was like. I would think with the advanced technology that would have been some kind of a standard, but I don't think they do that anymore.
The only time I ever watch terrestrial TV anymore is when I go over to my parents' house, because my stepdad will watch, like, Saving Private Ryan for the 298th time in a row.
It's a good movie.
I'm not knocking it. It's just he can rewatch the shit out of movies.
I did that with Terminator 2 and yeah, I in Godzilla movies. I used to watch them when we first got a VCR because I could only watch them on cable or whenever the local channels would show them when they used to show movies. That's all we had, so I had to watch those. And then once we got a VCR, and I was able to get tapes and home videos, man, I watched the hell out of. Especially when I got Terminator 2, I wore that tape out watching it so much.
You remember back in the day before the internet, if you wanted to get like live concert footage of bands, you'd have to go to the record stores and talk to the guy at the counter.
Guys, yeah.
And he'd know a guy
Yep.
and he'd have it shipped out.
Yeah.
Got all the old obscure shit that people eventually uploaded to YouTube. Hopefully, I mean, I know there's got to be a lot of it out there that didn't make the jump.
I went to YouTube and found there was this show I used to watch called Saturday Night Shocker. It used to come on before the Three Stooges. They just showed like horror movies from as early as the 40s on up to maybe 60s and 70s. And I think it was the first time I saw Phantasm was on it. And the what they call it, the buffer, like when the show would have like a tiny, it's like I think that's what they call it, where they show it's not the intro. Yeah, I guess it was the intro to the show. They had somebody got uploaded that. I'm like, okay, but somebody actually taped that. And when the show ended, it was a person carrying the name of the channel coming towards the screen, and the effects that they used were so bad. But that's all we had back then. He's supposed to have no head, and he was supposed to be invisible, but he had like clothes on and everything. It was just weird that how they tried to the special effects. If you didn't have a big budget, how they were so corny looking.
Yeah, I mean, these days, if you're broke, you can still find a way to look decent, but
Yeah, it was a local channel. They that's all they had, so you could tell. But back then, it was creepy looking. But now you look like, oh wow, that was so cheesy.
mm-hmm.
And video games back then too. Home versions of arcade machines.
Man, most of them sucked,
It's
at least comparison.
Funny now you can just fit those on a handheld system.
Yeah. Even though handheld systems are dead.
Yeah, and I haven't seen anything mentioned for the 3DS. Like even officially anything saying, we're discontinuing any games. That's no mention of it officially or unofficially that they're gonna release any games, or they're going to shut it down, or what?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about the Game Boy, you're talking about the Game Boy,
The
3DS.
DS
I mean,
and
the DS.
yeah, and PSP. Well, the not the PSP, the successor to that,
The Vita?
Vita. It's kind of a connect some way with the PlayStation 4, but it's not. They still release games on it, but I don't see hardly any advertisement for it. It's kind of used as a controller or some kind of device to connect with the PS4, but it's not seen to be advertised as a separate system or something that they're even pushing to go for you to go buy. It's like, nobody's buying it. So, but they're still making games on it. They don't seem to put a lot of advertisement into it. Because I can go to Play Asia and they're still making games, or PlayStation versions of, on a PSP versions of PS4 games, or vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, what are the sales like for the Vita?
It was as bad as the Wii U, and it was out longer than the Wii U, and it still couldn't get enough. It's just like the game. It reminds me of the game, Game Gear, where it was color, it used battery life. I mean, excluding the battery life, but it was like more advanced than the Game Boy, and nobody liked it, or nobody bought it. So the Vita was a pretty good looking system. It did a lot of good things, but the price of it, and then I think when it came out, they were trying to force you to use, if I remember correctly, I could be wrong, but you could only use Sony brand memory cards or something, and then those were pricey. It was like it was very arrogant. There was the same time they were trying to sell the PS. I mean, the same company that tried to sell the PS4 3 as
just
for
fucking
600
bombing right now
Yeah, they.
with video games, obviously. How are those Walkmen selling? Oh, right.
Man, I can't
2019.
believe to be around at the time the Walkman was introduced, and how big Sony was just like top dog. Like anything you wanted, made it us, except for the they were the one that did Beta, with like the fight between Beta and VHS. Was that them?
I
Betamax.
honestly don't. Yeah, I remember Betamax, but I really don't know.
But anyway, but they were so innovative, and Sony just had a quality. When you thought Sony, it was this quality behind it. Nowadays, man, it's like they're only known for game systems. You forget that they made other things. But
Well, when I hear about the Xbox, a lot of times I forget Microsoft and Bill Gates and all that.
yeah. I mean, outside of Windows, you can still kind of remember, oh, yeah, that's Microsoft still. But Sony is this, they started off as, the Walkman, all these electronics, and now they're just stuck with PlayStation because that's all people know them for. But they've done other things.
And they moved their headquarters. Is it their headquarters? To California?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Well, there's that. Another thing, though, about handhelds, though, on that subject, as I've said a million times, I'm convinced the DS is dead. I don't think that's why. I think that's why Nintendo hasn't said anything about it, but they haven't said anything negative either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of in the air, in limbo.
Well, I think they don't want to.
Schrodinger's cat.
Schrodinger's cat?
Yeah, I can never say his name. I feel like that's what the DS is. It's not dead, but not alive, because nobody knows. That they haven't announced anything official.
They haven't announced anything official in like almost a year.
Pro or con. If it's like we're not making games for it, we can I guess that goes without saying, but at the same time, I would think they would make an official announcement saying we're totally done with. Because I think if I go on my DS now, you can still download stuff on there through their store. You can still get games, but they're probably games you get for 99 cents or something. I don't know.
They're sunsetting it, man. I don't think
Yeah.
they've said anything about canceling it yet because they don't want people to. Well, first off, they don't want to lose their investors, and they don't want people. I don't know how people would react to that. We're ending the DS. How does that
Well,
normally
they're not
go?
ones. Well, even with the Wii U, they weren't. People like, where they needed. But I remember Rich Review Tech. It was like the consumer confidence. We know it's tanking, but you don't want Nintendo to necessarily discontinue something like the way Sega used to always do. They would abandon the system and right from under you and not really give any warning when they discontinued the system. They just kind of did. That's why EA didn't do anything for the Dreamcast because consumer confidence with their previous systems was pretty bad. They would make a system, discontinue it, make another one, and shit show with Sega until the Dreamcast. But then it was like too little, too late. Who, by the way, had a 20-year anniversary this month on the 9th. I think it's 20 years. I cannot believe it's 20 years.
The Dreamcast?
Yeah, since 99.
It was 99.
Yeah.
That means we're coming up on 20 years for the PlayStation 2.
That's insane.
There are only 2 consoles, coming up on the 3rd. There are only 2 consoles out from that one.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good run for each console.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess 3, because that's just when the PS2 came out. But anyway, yeah, I remember getting one because I liked Vice City so much. What is your take on the new Dragon Quest? I know it's new to me. It's not new to you, though.
I played up. I'm very early into it, so I haven't done much on it. Ugh. But I'm loving the. Oh God, what is that sound?
What is going on?
I clicked on something by mistake, and anyway, and I can't hear it through my headphones, so I couldn't tell if I picked up anything. I can hear it. Oh, okay. Story-wise and everything, I'm not deep into it, but just from playing a little bit that I did, I'm loving the graphics. I have it on PS4. I think graphics is gorgeous.
Well,
it's the first thing that I popped in my. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, one thing about Dragon Quest that I accept is that they're usually not that strong with the plot. So I wasn't expecting like a strong plot, but I mean they're not bad.
Mm-hmm.
I thought 5 probably had one of the best plots, just because of how different it was. I don't know if you played 5, but
is that the one that's real long? I think I got that on 3DS.
7's the longest one. 7's the one that's like 150 hours
just
to beat it, not even to complete everything.
That
was ridiculous. That was an exercise in patience.
8 is like the definitive one I played all the way through.
8 is like their Final Fantasy 7, I feel.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what really broke the series over in America. I mean, you and I were playing it before then, but for like a lot of, like normies, I think 8 was the one. And I think it was really good for the series because it really just brought something fresh into it. You didn't have that not first person, but, over the shoulder kind of style. Everything was, you played the game.
Yeah.
They got that cel-shaded cartoon look, and it just felt like more modern. It's more fun. Like the whole over, sky down thing had been done so many times. But anyway, how's the whole ability to switch between 3D and 16-bit? Can you just do that at any time?
Wait a minute. On
on 11 on the new one.
Like I said, I played with. I think I'm at the cave. I'm so early into it. I haven't really delved a lot into it because those other games I'm trying to beat. But the little bit I did play, I visually was impressed with it. But I barely know anything else other than that, so I had to play it all the way through. Plus, because right around that time, I think I had just bought Persona 5, and then Dragon Quest, then some stuff on Switch. I'm like, oh my god! If games ever decide to have another, what they call it, we had back in the '80s, Crash.
Oh
no, the Crash.
Yeah,
I'll be set because I got a ton of stuff I got to beat that I haven't beat yet. So right now I'm currently playing Link's Awakening. So that's like everybody else took a seat. So I definitely want to play that all the way through.
Well, that's where I was going to go next. That's what I've been playing too, of course. That and Celeste. I bought that game.
So, yeah, I heard Celeste was terrific.
Yeah, it's a really fun platformer. It's very challenging.
I saw it when I think it first came out. I think we'll say last year.
And the soundtrack's dope as shit. Anyway,
I saw a lot of Twitch streamers playing that, and everybody loved it. So I was like, this seems something I play with when I get a chance.
Yeah, it's got an overall metaphor for the whole story. It's
reminds me of
simple, but it's pretty cool.
It reminds me of I think it's the Cave
Story.
Cave Story, yeah. It kind of reminds me of that.
Wasn't Cave Story sort of more like a Symphony of the Night, Metroidvania?
I think so.
I played a little bit. I had that on the Wii.
I think the graphic style of it kind of reminds me of Celeste. Or Celeste reminds me of that.
Dude, I gotta check out that Goose Game.
Dude, yeah, everybody's
talking about
seeing
that.
A lot of people playing that lately.
It was so weird because I remember seeing a trailer for it over a year ago, and I was like, "This is weird," and it's huge. It's a huge deal now, apparently.
Yeah.
I was just interested because it was just called Untitled Goose Game, and I thought, okay, that's a working title. Nope.
Name of the game. Oh man, and I think all you do is bother people.
Yeah, I don't know if there's more to it, but from everything I've seen, yeah, you can just interact with things around you and just fuck with people.
But then what's that goat game? What was that game called?
The Goat Simulator.
Goat Simulator. It's like, hey, why not make a goose?
It's kind of like in that kind of style, that kind of spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the Goat Simulator. I've never played it, but I've watched a lot of people play it.
Well, I used to review tech when he used to run a video before he did his new format. Would always have that game playing while he was talking.
Yep, I remember that.
Oh man,
that dude's lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Really though, my favorite videos that he does are the ones where he's telling stories. Did you ever see the one where he talks about the stalker that he had?
No.
Yeah, if you get the chance, when you got the time, look up on Review Tech, My Creepy Stalker, I think it's called.
Dude, he got a family and everything, man. That's was this before he had his kid, or was it?
I'm not sure.
Or before?
How old's the kid? This was like 3 or 4 years ago, I think he did this. And even then, that story was from further back. So, yeah, I think it was way before all that. And his stalker was a dude.
I figured that.
Like an older dude that would just keep calling him. It's hilarious, dude. You got to hear it.
Yeah, that's weird because Dr. Disrespect had somebody shoot at his house.
I remember that.
It's just like over. It's like, what? Video games? It's odd, man.
I don't know. I don't know. And then he made some bad decisions in a bathroom. That was
He made
silly.
What's funny was he made a Polygon or Kotak. Fuck them. But they got upset that he didn't take it seriously enough because he ended up making a on Twitch you can make these what did they call it? Not a meme. It's something to chat. It's these emojis. But I don't think they call them emojis on Twitch. They call them something else. But he had one of him peeking over a bathroom door.
Yeah.
That was one of his emojis.
I gotta check his channel out.
The first thing you do, don't take him seriously. He's playing a character.
Oh, I know.
Oh, did you see the G Fuel commercial that he did where he's playing dodgeball and you don't know who he's playing dodgeball against, and then the ball hits a kid in the face? That commercial is hilarious.
Sounds like the movie Dodgeball.
Dude, I was just watching that the other day.
Sounds like what's his name? Rip Torn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely some of that in his character. I know about what he does. I just have never watched any of it. Great. Yeah. Cat's knocking over stuff. I know this is from like a month ago. I think we talked about this, not on here, but Chris Ray Gun and Colin Moriarty got their live podcast shut down.
I didn't know it got shut down. I just thought they
just that
I knew something
they
happened,
canceled that live event where they were going to do an episode live.
And they got their just that, or did their whole podcast get shut down?
No, the podcast's still there.
Did they?
Sacred
Oh, okay.
Symbols.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a PlayStation podcast. Look at us, we're plugging everybody right now. But
Whenever we plug somebody else, check out
right?
it's a podcast called Topless Robot.
Sounds intriguing.
Yeah, they call it the Topless Robot. I don't know all they cover. I know they cover games, but I saw their name pop up on something. I was looking up a picture, and it was like something from there. I was like, Topless Robot. I'm expecting to see like, I thought it was the name of a porn channel or something. And it's just a podcast about video games, so I said, check them out one day if I'm not doing anything at work.
Yeah, I remember that story about their that shutdown today. I don't know if you've seen. Chris put up a new video, which is like a Blue Moon event, and it was like this. I heard about the story, went over the details a month ago, and then it was gone. He finally put out his video where he basically just rips Kotaku apart.
Good.
It's very funny because they put out another article on him and they called him a conservative because they don't fucking know anything and they just write shit. I mean, Colin's conservative, but he's not even like a full on, and Chris just makes fun of social justice warriors. That's the silly thing to me. Like, there are people that make fun of their own side, but it's their side.
Yeah.
I think it was the Quartering. He said, I know Chris Ray Gun. He's not a conservative. He's just not afraid to call out trash in his own backyard. But yeah. Anyway, I think it's funny the silly thinking that people do if you criticize something on your like liberal side or conservative side. They think, oh, he's the enemy.
Yeah, it's that mentality that you have to think. Like when I was growing up, and even when I went to college, liberals were pretty much about individualism. It was like a really big thing to be an individual. They didn't, that was kind of championed to be, it's now like these fringe far left people want you to think like hive minded. So if you think outside, it's like just have common sense. You don't have to be left or right, just common sense. They were ready to tag you as, well, you must be on that side because apparently you don't think like we do. It's like, no, what you think, I'm on your side. I don't think like you do. You don't make sense. And they can call you alt-right and everything else. Even if I've seen them call a black person.
We didn't have alt-right back then. I mean, we did, but they didn't call it that.
I heard them call a black person a white supremacist. That's how retarded these people are.
I saw a headline, I think it was in a video from a while back, a headline that said, being a gay black man is the white man of black men. I mean, first of all, I think that's kind of a crazy statement. And second of all, talk about a terrible worded headline. I just get tired of this whole, like, I don't know. I don't want to sound like a total jackass. All these articles, I think a lot of people really, they get so worked up just over these trash articles that are so abundant on the internet now. And I think that's a reason that hold on, my freaking cat is now choosing to be engaging and curious and wanting to hunt things that don't exist. Gotta get the spray bottle. Away. Anyway. Places like Kotaku are steaming garbage piles, and they do more seemingly bad than good, at least. Again, I'm watching, all the YouTube videos. These guys make a living off of this stuff. But, I mean, they are objectively full of garbage. Tabloid sites. I mean, we have them. We had them back in the day, but they were at the checkout lane. They were called National Enquirer.
Yeah, and people didn't take them, it's one of those things you go, oh, okay, this is something I can be entertained by and not take so seriously and kind of like, just something to read. But now it's like you got these weird so-called activists writing things that's not pertaining to, I don't know. I miss being able to go to the EGM and game, whether these gaming magazines, and just read about what's in the game and rather not the mechanics of the game is fine if there's bugs in it, things like that. Now it's like if they don't have some social commentary put in it, it gets a low mark, or they want the game to, I don't know, well then you make a game with all the stuff that you want in it. That you want these developers, they're trying to make games to entertain and make money off of. You want them, that's why I just believe in doing your own thing. If you feel that strongly about these things, do something, create your own thing and put whatever political message you feel like it needs to be said.
Sure.
Go for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if someone decides I don't want to do that, I should be able to have express myself artistically in the way I want to without you telling me I need to do this for a cause. Well, no, if you feel that strongly, then you have every right to make it yourself.
Right. And speaking of that, those would be in indie games usually. And I don't know the number of indie games that have like special identities that are being pushed, certain traits about the characters. I'm like an hour or so into Celeste. Mm-hmm. Hold on. Away. Yeah! Okay. Yeah. About an hour in, and I was reading somewhere online that the main character's gay.
Uh-huh.
But I had no idea. They haven't made it a point to talk about. Maybe they will later on. My whole thing is, if a character's, this race or this sexuality or this gender or whatever, fine, but as long as it has some reason to be there other than for the sake of just representing it.
I think now we've just been put in the category of skin color, orientation, and gender. Because there's no, it's like it's just there to make somebody feel better, and it's like, is it part of the story or is it just something to pat yourself on the back for and cater? I don't know. It's
Yeah, here's the thing. Like, the reason I brought that up about Celeste is that you could say that they have something to gain for having a gay character, but generally, I don't trust when a large company decides to put, a certain message. I know I'm being kind of vague or broad, but I mean, you know what I mean. When you have a character that's gay or something LGBTQ or, of this minority, that minority, if it's pretty obvious that they're just that, just for the sake of having it, it doesn't do anything for you. But the large companies, I don't think really have any kind of moral or ethical tie to doing that, other than for just to try and bring in more people of that kind of identity.
Well, that's the thing.
It's just a marketing move.
Well, yeah, it's like I think it's I think they use these people as props in a way, like to use them as I honestly don't think they care. I think it's a trendy thing. They think it's trending because of some shit they see on Twitter, and they think, oh, everybody. It don't seem to be. I think they're doing things on surface level just to please. I don't know. It's a weird, because it's not like they act like especially when they put a female lead character in something or a movie or anything. It's like they act like only two women ever existed in movies. It's like, no, what you're trying to do has already happened. You're not doing anything new. So I don't understand this. It's like they're doing it to get electronic pats on the back. And when this trend goes away, if you were not an activist before, I don't like, why are you now? I don't know. It all seems phony to me. It's just something trendy to do for the moment. And then once this time passes, I don't know. I don't, to me, make a character based on, I don't know. When Ripley happened in Alien,
I was just about to go to that. I was like, what was the character's name?
Nobody, in Samus, I didn't care there was a female. It was a good character. And it was just done, there was a good story to it, or, it was a good game. And they didn't have to tell you, it felt organic. With the way they do it now, it just feels so manufactured.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I don't feel anything when they do it that way.
Same
It's
thing
like you're just trying to push. Yeah. And there's only two female characters I actually really like, because they actually, it came out at a time where it felt natural the way they did it. And it's well-written characters. There's a progression to them.
Mm-hmm.
You saw how they started one way, and then the next movie, they were this way. Now they make these Mary Sues where they're just perfect. You can't really relate to them. And it's like they're afraid to make female characters face any kind of adversity, which, I don't know, it's kind of, I don't know, it's like you send a weird message telling women that, or girls, that you think you can't handle real life, so we have to kind of touch everything with kid gloves, sort of kind of thing. And where you look at Ripley and Sarah Connor, it's like men and women can relate to them, because as a parent, I can relate to both of them as a parent. And if you were trying to overcome a fear, that's something Ripley had to overcome from trauma, and then you see her progress into this badass. They can't seem to do characters like that now.
Well, I think the most common example of a Mary Sue, at least that I think of today, is Rey from Star Wars.
Yeah.
She's just such a blank slate. Now, again, I've enjoyed the two later main ones, but I get why people have problems with them. I mean, it's not just that, the social aspect of it. It's just certain things in the plot that just didn't seem necessary or didn't fully make sense.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it. I feel like, I feel like I got Spaceballs 2 with these last two movies, 2 and 3.
Speaking of which, is that ever going to happen?
I think it did with The Last Jedi.
I mean, like a real Spaceballs too.
Yeah, The Last Jedi.
Okay, man. Mel fucking Brooks.
Yeah, he probably gave the rights for them to do Spaceballs 2 and called it The Last Jedi.
Did you see when they put his star on the Walk of Fame and he put his handprints in, how he got a fake sixth finger on his hand to fuck with people?
No.
Yeah, I remember this. I remember when that happened. I was just... At first, I just saw the picture. I was like, did I never notice he has 6 fingers? Nope. He still got it.
I mean, by the time if he does make it, man, because how old is he now?
90-something.
Yeah,
He's the next Stan Lee for me, if you know what I'm saying.
For some reason, I thought of Woody Allen, too.
God, he's still around?
Yeah.
Let's see. He's 93. He was born in 1926.
See, them motherfuckers, they seen some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
they've seen some shit.
Well, I remember it was on a few podcasts I've heard. You ever checked out his son, Max? The stuff, his work?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, so he's a writer. He wrote World War Z.
Oh, that was him. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he got a bunch of actors to do the voice for the audiobook version, and then they made the movie, which he had nothing to do with.
Do with the book, yeah.
But yeah, apparently, like, he didn't want to take any of his dad's money. He said he would always be at parties when he was young, and he would talk to his dad's friends in the business about how he wanted to start his own career. And his friends, or, you know, his dad's friends would always say, oh, you should just get a loan from your dad, or, you know, get, you know, some kind of association with your dad. And he would always just say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm kind of surprised he doesn't use like a, you know, a pen name. Yeah, he wrote World War Z and the Zombie Survival Guide, which is also a very fun book.
Oh, that was him too. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know what he's done since then, but anyway, the reason I brought him up is that I've heard him do, you know, a bunch of different interviews, and he's always fun to listen to. And of course, they always ask him about his dad.
Mm-hmm.
And what was I going to say? He was talking about his dad. Oh, that's right. When he came over to the United States, it was still during segregation, and he had never experienced that in Europe. So it was like a complete shock. Like, he would go up to a water fountain, and there would be a cop that'd be like, sir, what are you doing? Yeah, but that's what I'm getting at, is he's seen a lot.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Well, I think he's, you know, he still does, like, the work, like the thinking, the thought exercises. Apparently, like, he has the same routine every day. He'll go over to his friend's house, and they're both, like, as old as time. And they keep working, they keep writing. And I think that's one of the things that just keeps somebody like that going.
That's really cool.
I mean, without getting anti-Semitic anyway. I'll never forget the Daily Stormer after Stan Lee died. Jeez. Yiddle me this, yiddle me that. That probably got us flagged. Oh well.
Oh, yeah.
But that new Zelda, man. That new
It's been so long since I've played. I don't know why I'm getting stuck in places that I shouldn't be. Because I play a game, let's say a platformer. I don't say it's not as complex. Let's say, so fighting games are my favorite genres. Let's say a fighting game, and then I play a few other. There's similar mechanics to each one, to some, even as different as they can be. but there's still certain things that have basic things to it that I can pick up and play immediately, um, and figure out some of the moves and combos and stuff. Same thing with survival horror games. Same thing with other games that have similar. And it felt like playing Zelda is like I haven't played a game where I had to actually. It's like some obvious things that I'm like, how did I not think of that? Because my brain works. I always think something is more complex than it is, and I can figure it out. But the more simple it is, the less I'm able. I don't know why that is. I don't know why I do that. Like, I can figure out like complex jokes, but if it's a in your face simple answer to a joke, I'm like, how could I not get that? I don't know why my brain does that. But there's some parts in Zelda, I'm like, what? I'm losing it. It could be my age. I don't know.
You mean just like the mechanics,
no,
the requirements, the controls?
So the beginning of the game, where you get your shield, and you have to go get your sword on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm struggling trying to figure out how to get past that shit. My kid tells me, try the shield.
Oh,
and
that's
goddamn
right.
it,
To push
I
those.
pushed the shield, the spike. I'm like, oh my God, I'm losing it. I didn't even think to try that. So I get to the cave where the two flames, there's a vase. No, there's a treasure chest. It's right after you get the, I call it a dog, that damn ball and chain thing.
Oh yeah, the Bow Wow.
Bow Wow. So I go into, because I'm still kind of early in the game, and I go to the area where you go in the water and it bites the little flower things. I suck with names too. I know they got a name. I can't think of them right now. And
I'm not sure what they're called either.
That lightning ball is spinning around, and it's two lanterns or two things you have to light on fire. I was struggling trying to figure out how to get past. I'm like, the door's not open. I can't kill this thing. What the fuck? And it turns out I have to. What?
Where is this?
I can't think of the castle. It's
one of the dungeons.
It's a dungeon, but it's the spikes in the water and the yellow flower thingies and the fish jump out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I should have. The second dungeon.
Second dungeon. Okay.
You still got the chomp with you?
Yes. And when I go into the area where the little ball is going around the tube, because I'm like, man, I guess I need a lantern to light these torches to open the doors. No, I'm just supposed to sprinkle. I'm like, oh my God, I was supposed to just use the powder. I'm thinking, dude, I'm looking all over the place like, there's nowhere else to go. Where can I get this lantern? Because I'm used to the other Zeldas. That's how you light that stuff. I'll get it together, man. I just feel like I'm losing it, man.
Well, there was definitely an offshot from a lot of the standard Zelda formula, but again, there were only 4 games at the point where that came out. Yeah, there's a lot of differences. It really is sort of like Spaceballs 2 of Zelda, because so many things. I'm going to start using that now. Thank you. They've gone full Spaceballs too. But yeah, well, it's a parody of so many Nintendo franchises too, because they've got so many different characters from Nintendo games in it.
Yeah, because my kid was flipping out when I go in the cave and it's side scrolls and you see the Goombas.
Oh yeah, yep.
She was like, "What are they doing in the game?"
Yeah, man, they got a lot of cameos.
It's like, this is my first time playing it. I didn't play the original one, so this is going to be a trip for me.
Did you see Mr. Wright from SimCity?
I knew I couldn't figure out who I saw that from. I was like, damn, the character looks familiar. That's who that's from. Okay.
Yeah, they get some obscure ones. The thing that was weird for me is that every screen was a solid screen in the original, but now they've merged a lot of the sections into one big area.
Oh, okay.
Like you'd move to the edge of the screen and it would shift up, just like in the original. But in this one, it's like 8 screens, just one big area. And in a way, that makes the game feel a little smaller for me.
Mm-hmm.
I even thought about it when I got it. I said, I thought to myself, yeah, okay, I'm definitely going to buy this game, but am I going to regret, the price? Am I going to regret paying $50?
Mm-hmm.
The answer is no. I love the shit out of it. It's a great nostalgia trip. The graphics are incredible. Blah blah blah. I could completely just suck this game off, but well, as soon as I started hearing myself, I was like, okay, yeah. It's a general opinion that it is a good game. Who doesn't like Zelda? Don't answer that. I know there's people out there like that. I don't want to know them.
Well, if they exist, I think it's just to be edgy. Probably.
Oh, speaking of which, Zelda and being edgy. Have you heard this? It's kind of a meme that's been going around. Just the same statement that people make about Breath of the Wild. They say, Breath of the Wild would have just been a mediocre open MMORPG if it didn't have the Zelda name on it. People would just consider it an average RPG. Fuck you.
No, I didn't know that was I didn't know it was a thing.
Yeah,
I knew there was people that was kind of
edgelords.
Yeah, like it's not that good. Like, and you're entitled to that train of thought, but you're wrong. But okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, they're objectively wrong. I mean, we have the science, we have the facts. They're bad people.
But people probably feel like I'm like that with I discussed my hatred for The Last Jedi. Like, how could you hate that? Like it's a shit movie, but.
Yeah, but I think even with The Last Jedi, there was enough criticism about it and enough, divided opinion for people to be more sympathetic to it, to criticisms. Zelda's just been, Breath of the Wild just been across the board, 10 stars out of 5.
10 stars.
I mean, the best criticism I really have is... the rock climbing's impossible in the rain, and it rains all the fucking time. I heard people complain about how there's a lot of empty spaces, but that didn't even really bother me so much.
I tell you a game that I feel like is full of empty space, and that's, and not no pun intended, is Destiny. Because you're going to a world. Like, what game am I playing now? Okay. So for Warframe, even Warframe, which is kind of like, let's make a comparison with some people with that in Destiny, and people think it's like a third-person Destiny, but I think that game came out before Destiny. Anyway, if you go into one of these worlds, you see it's so much space, but it does nothing. It's like there's nothing, and every few mile. I mean, you can go somewhere and I'm like, there's got to be loot or something here other than, now I don't know what part 2 has, if they've done something with that, but when I played the first Destiny, I was like, look at all this open space, and it's like, for what? There's nothing. I mean, there's enemies to shoot, but when you're not engaging with enemies, there's not much it's no purpose to have all this space, and there's nothing to hunt for, or there's no reason for me to be there other than to shoot them then leave. At least with Breath of the Wild, and at least with Warframe, each area at least give you, I feel like I'm accomplishing something, even when I take out enough enemies. I feel like I'm still in this world doing something. There's a purpose for me to be here, even if I'm not fighting enemies and I can loot up and get some stuff and leave. I feel like I'm doing something. And Destiny, I never felt like that. With all that land and open world to do, I mean, with all that space, it's like, how do they not put more things in here to do? I just thought that was weird.
They valued the idea of open world over substance.
Weird.
I saw that with a lot of older 3D games when they were still getting things figured out. It was just the idea. Oh God, what was it? There was a Jurassic Park game for the PC. The nerd just did a video on it. I have to look it up. Hold on. But anyway, there's a lot of broken physics. There's a lot of just wasted space. What was it called? Jurassic Park Trespasser. You play as a girl, and he interviews the guy that programmed the game, and he said, "Yeah, it was rushed. We didn't have it finished, so we had to put it out."
Mm.
And if you look down, the main character is a girl, and they didn't have time to program a whole sprite for her, so you don't see her feet, so they just put her boobs in the way. So it's literally, if you see the character model from a third person, it's just a head and some tits. And the mechanic for the feet is just like a rolling ball, so when you try to jump up on a ledge, it's impossible.
Oh my God! When you said that, I don't know why. What's that game on Nintendo 64? The Unicycle.
Was that 64?
Yeah, you control some unicycles on a track or something, side scrolling. I think. I cannot think of the name of it.
Was it Uniracers?
Yeah, Uniracers.
That was Super Nintendo.
Was it? Oh my
I'm
God!
looking at the box art.
I thought that was 64. Okay. Dude, I was so disappointed with Stunt FX. I had bought that game, and I was more into kart racing games and things, and that game was not fun. I ended up returning it, or I think I traded it in for another game.
What was the worst game of all time? What was the worst game of all time that disappointed you?
It was a game on Dreamcast called what else wanted for? I got it because I could be missing somebody. But it was one game. It was an RPG on Dreamcast, and the Dreamcast did not have a lot of RPGs. And the two that did come out was Grandia and oh crap, Grandia. Let me look up. It was about 3 of them, I think, and those were pretty good. This one was you were in a egg-shaped robot, and graphically at the time it looked fantastic. But man, it was such a disappointing RPG. So there was Skies of Arcadia, Grandia 2, Elemental Gimmick Gear. That's what it was called. So if you take the letters from it spells egg, and thus your protagonist rides in something that's an evolution. Evolution was pretty cool. Evolution 1 and 2. They have way more RPGs than I thought. Oh, I forgot about Phantasy Star stuff. D2. But the ones I played, I thought the most disappointing that every time I think about it, right off the top of my head, I would say was that RPG. It looked, the box art, everything looked kind of cool, and then the graphics looked pretty cool. And when you get into battle and do certain fights, it was like, Jesus, this game sucks. So I did not like that game. Bouncer was probably another disappointing game.
Which one?
Bouncer, when it came on PS2. It was a Square beat 'em up, but there was so much hype over this game, and it just turned out to be a beat 'em up. Which I love beat 'em ups, but I think the way they hyped this game up, it felt like it was supposed to be more than what it was, and it was nothing more than a glorified beat 'em up.
I think one for me was RPG Maker for the PlayStation 1. Because around that time, RPG making software was like a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how big it was. I was into it. But they had a version on it. They had a PC version, which was way better, so much easier to use. And they had a PlayStation version, which was, it just didn't work out. It was so clunky and it was so limited. Like the PC version, you could actually like import your own soundtrack and graphics and everything. They had people ripping sprites from like SNES games and making their own like Chrono Trigger Part 2 and shit like that. But just the PlayStation one, you were stuck with what you had.
Was it because of the limitation of the technology, or was it um,
Yeah.
something else?
Yeah, it was just the strict limitation. You had like these 28 different songs you can use. You have like these 5 different tile sets for all the maps. The
hmm
maps can only be this size. Way, way, way limited. I mean, even for its time. It was out at the same time that you had the PC version,
Oh, I see.
which was so much better. And then they made a newer version, and they made a newer version of the PlayStation one, but I didn't care at that point. They made part 2, and they might still be making them. I don't know. The RPG making scene really isn't at all what it used to be, but that was probably one of the most disappointing games. That and Neverwinter Nights. Not because of the game, but
hmm
because I spent the money on it and there was something wrong with the software in my PC and it wouldn't install. And for some stupid reason, I never returned the game.
I think the second disappointing game for me was Street Fighter Five because they released it to coincide with, I want to say, Evo or some other big fighting game competition. And they were trying to rush the game out, and it was so bare bones. It had no, and the online sucked. It had no arcade mode. And the company, at least they apologized for they kind of knew, yeah, we screwed up releasing this game like this. But man, Fallout 76, I don't know if you heard the latest news on that, but they had to recall
Yes.
some
Oh, that's right.
helmets.
Glad you reminded me. Like, oh my god, it just keeps getting worse for Fallout.
Yeah, man.
That was another game, by the way, Fallout New Vegas,
I was
where there was
so looking
too
for
much
that.
open space. But yeah, 76.
I was looking so forward to playing 76, man. And then I'm so glad I haven't touched that game. And they say, I guess the game itself is fine, but this other stuff surrounding it, man, it's just ass.
But yeah, let's talk about the helmets, man.
Dude, they're talking about like you could breathe in something.
They're molding
Something molding. Yeah, the mold.
the inside of the helmet.
Oh my God. What the fuck? The backpacks was one of the things too, like that was having an issue with. People were paying like all this money for this stuff, and then this helmet thing, I was like, God damn.
Well, to be fair to
Bethesda?
Bethesda, they didn't make the helmets.
Right, they didn't do that.
GameStop
Right.
did that. But still, you can blame them for not holding GameStop
Right.
accountable. Either way, it's just been like an ongoing falling fire shitstorm for that game.
I know. I was so looking forward to that. But
What are they thinking?
I don't know, man. I think we're almost conditioning ourselves. Well, thankfully, I think some people wise up. I think we got to a point where I remember when DLC was free, and then little by little, and people get like, you think that, when I bring up stuff, even like with social stuff, and they're like, don't you think the sky is falling? Like, no, man, I've been around a little bit long enough to see when stuff start off small, and then you get to, oh, man, damn, it's too late to do anything about it. So when DLC was free, then they started charging little by little, and now you got what we have, the loot box fiascos and all this stuff going on, and charging people for as much for the game as you will for DLC and these passes for games. Where was I going with that? Something about the Fallout helmets. Oh, I think, and then we got to kind of condition ourselves to, they release a game full price, and it's like, we'll fix it later. So they send out all these buggy games like Fallout 76, and we'll patch it up later. It's like, can y'all? I don't know who has fault. I think both sides can be the blame for it. We bought into it, and then we have what we have now. Is people the companies send out unfinished games, and it's like we'll patch it later. But you're paying full price, and then you got to pay, if you want the other extra stuff, you're paying on top of that. You're paying almost $200 or more for a game that should have been completed. If you're talking, I don't mind cosmetics because that's a choice. All of it's still a choice, but at the same time, my God, we kind of, I think we had gotten to a point where we kind of conditioned ourselves to accept unfinished games, and then the stuff that happened with the Battlefront game, where it's pretty much play to win. I think Call of Duty. I saw an article. I didn't get to finish reading it or seeing a video on it. Activision is doing something with the. Oh my God, the game looks cool, but so PlayStation has an exclusive, something exclusive to it for like a year. I don't know if it's a game mode or something. I'm like, it's like, man, I miss when games were just released. I guess a double-edged sword because you had to rate, like for Street Fighter, for example, if a game had some flaws in it, you had to wait for the next game to come out, and that could take 2 to 3 years to be done. At least now they can patch up games, but then they can also use the excuse, charge you full price for a game that's unfinished or not fixed or it's got bugs. It's like, we'll fix it later. It sucks.
Yeah, and you'll buy it anyway.
Yeah.
Because you want to play it bad enough. You'll play even a shitty version.
And that's the conditioning I'm talking about. Like, we've just kind of, we just little by little accept things, and then we are surprised by the time, like, they fuck us over. Like, well, we allowed it. We allowed it to get this far.
Let's start a revolution then.
I guess you got to talk with your wallet. Just don't buy it. But hell, I'm only one cog in the. I'm not enough to change that. I guess. I just won't purchase something that I feel like it's just not. That's all I can do is. I can get spread the word a little bit, but.
And I'll just continue to not buy most of the mainstream MMOs.
Pretty much, yeah.
I've been protesting since day one. I just didn't even know it. Yeah, I was just indifferent.
I have been buying less and less games lately, too. But I think the games I've been buying the most. If I've been buying, the last few games have been for Nintendo, for the Switch. But overall, I've been buying less and less games lately. Not because I can't afford them. I don't know.
Nothing's really been interesting to you?
No. Again, other than, like I said, the few Switch games that's been coming out. They had kind of announced during, I think, like last year anyway. I was looking forward to this year coming out. So I would say Mario Maker 2, Yoshi Cardboard World, what the fuck that's called.
I think it was Crafted World.
Crafted World. I know. Krusty, damn. Astral Chain and Zelda. Those have been Switch games.
Well, I would also recommend Celeste, and I think it might still be on sale for half off.
Okay. Give that a try. Oh, and this week, anybody that plays any MK11, fuck that game. I don't know, man.
I was excited for Nintendo's sake when they brought it to the Switch.
What, the MK11?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited that they don't. When they brought over Omega Labyrinth, I got the name. Omega Labyrinth. Damn it. Let me find the damn Life, yeah. Omega Labyrinth Life. The game that didn't censor itself, but censored themselves on got censored on the PS4. They're apparently PS4 is afraid of anime tits, but Nintendo isn't.
How times have changed.
Your fan is loud, whatever that is. I,
That's an AC. It's been running most of
oh,
the time.
oh, that thing it quiets down for some reason when you talk, but
Yeah, it must be the noise filter then.
and I feel like I'm trying to
Well, your mic also something changed on maybe your end, might be
lower or
my
higher,
end.
lower or higher. Is it too loud or too
No,
low?
it's not. It's not a volume. Well, I mean, the volume went down a little bit because of that. But
Oh,
did you change something? Because like you sound like
uh-huh.
more distant.
I've been down to grab a game, but I don't know if it happened at that moment or if I still sound like that.
Oh, you
My
sound fine now.
face is right on it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So MK11 is doing the issue I have with this game is one is boring as hell to watch because I love watching NetherRealm games. This game for some reason is boring as fuck to watch. It plays well. It's got some good things going for it, but it is not fun to play. It's not that fun to watch. I think part of I have a problem with is they have a variation system, and you can customize moves to the character. I feel like it defeats the purpose of having a variation. But when they play competitively with this game, I don't think they can customize the moves for the character. I think they have to use the base characters. The problem with the variation system is, even with MKX, was if you wanted to win these tournaments, you pretty much everybody universally picked the best version of that character, and it kind of negates having a variation system. If one is the very best, you wouldn't use. If you're trying to win the game, you're not going to use a shit variation. You're going to use the best one. I get why he did the variation system, but you're going to only stick with one that you feel like you're comfortable, you can really win with. And I just wish they get rid of. I just wish they make a complete character and stop with the variation system. And I feel bad for the Dales to a degree because they work hard on coming up with this stuff, and it's like once you find that one you like, there's no use using the other variations. I think it's just a dumb system to have. That's why I tend to like Japanese games more. I feel like the games have always, plus it's more combo. I feel like I can always find some combo or something new in those type of games, like Soul Calibur, Street Fighter, Tekken. NRS games tend to have once you have a bread and butter combo, there's kind of nothing else to discover with it. And even the competitive scene knows what you're going to do. It almost comes down to you getting an advantage in terms of, I guess, getting the first hit in and then using momentum to win. It's not that much back and forth, even if you block. And then you got to pick the right variation and the correct character to match. But yeah, and then they're going to add the new game mode. And then the other problem with it too is they have this in-game currency that you use in a crypt to open chests. But I've pretty much opened all the chests in the crypt. It's pointless to have this. And then they have a set of costumes you can get for your character, and they're locked, but you can't use the in-game currency to unlock them. You have to go to the crypt randomly. Hopefully you find the one you want. You can't just get it. If I wish there was a way that the in-game currency that you win can go towards unlocking the outfit that you want instead of you by chance getting the one that you want. And then you go in the crypt as does the same thing. You might at random get the outfit that you want. And some people's like, I don't want to grind to get this crap, these, parts for the costumes and things. And then you go to the store to get these crystals, which cost real world money. And then that's even RNG. Like when you go to the store, if you want to get a specific outfit, you still can't do it. I don't know who makes these decisions with these AAA companies. Like, man, y'all did so much things right and so much wrong. But it's not that fun of a game to play. And when Injustice 2 and the first MKX, I come home and play every day to discover stuff and play it, get online and play. I can't put a finger on why this particular game, it's not fun. And then even the people who are more hardcore than I am about the game, the series, I've seen them play other games, and most of them are just playing for money at this point.
Well, you heard it here, folks. MK11, worst game of all time.
I didn't say that. No, it's fantastic graphics, presentation, one of the best production I've seen in a fighting game or any game. The production value is off the charts. It's got some cool mechanics, but I can't put a finger on it. It's boring as fuck to play for me. There's something about it. And I'm not the only one. Again, I can't judge viewer count on Twitch or other places and say, oh, the game must not be selling. I think it's so okay, pretty good. But looking at past NetherRealm Studio games on Twitch, they always had a significant number of people watching those games and tournaments when they had them, like Evo, some of the fighting competitive scene would always have pretty good numbers in viewership. I've never seen a game dip in viewership this fast that this game has. And it just came out this year. Usually those other two games, like Injustice 2 and Mortal Kombat X, they took a while for the viewership, almost to the next game, before they kind of stopped watching it. For some reason, this game just within 2-3 months, it came out in April, May, June, July. So even by June or July, it just fell off viewership wise. And then when I go on Steam, now I don't know if it's because when Steam does the online thing, you can go to Steam, I think Steam charts. You can see the peak at which there's a lot of people online playing. And this game just continues to go down and even online play. I don't know what it is. It's just, and then they're adding a third variation. They already had two. It's like, not going to add a third one. It's like, no.
Are they even making good games anymore?
Who? That particular company or?
Anybody.
Nintendo. That's what I'm saying. It's like.
We're in another age of Nintendo?
This is a company I've shat on for quite some time, and they keep always pleasing me with good shit. I mean, the Wii U, I think, pissed me off so much with the way they did that. And they come with the Switch, and they kind of do everything right. So I'm not that upset with Nintendo like I would have been in the past. I think the big thing for me is the fact that they're not censoring games. That's really big to me because I'm just not for censorship.
I think they finally figured out how to sell well with the very younger demographic and the older at the same time now.
Hell, I mean, when they first...
I mean, they did in a day.
It,
but they went through this funk for a while where they were seen as the kiddie sense company.
But when they advertised the Switch, the one commercial they had before they actually released it and had any other news on it, that was all like adults in the advertisement for it. So That was crazy.
You know what I saw when I went to the store to get Link's Awakening?
What's that?
I was there, still wearing my work clothes, and I saw somebody else there, and he had he was wearing work clothes too, and I thought he was an employee first because he had a blue shirt. I started asking him where the Breath of Wild was because they're sold
No.
out in the front shelves, but they had like a mountain of them in the back.
Wait, Breath of Wild or
I'm sorry, I said Breath of Wild. I meant Link's
yeah.
Awakening. I asked him if they had Link's Awakening. The guy in the blue shirt, and he's like, and I said, "Oh, you don't work here." And he was about my age,
Hmm.
and we were both there for the same thing to get that new Link's Awakening. We had to wait there for 20 minutes, and I even told him, I bet we could go back there and find it before they could. Because these guys that work there, they're just like high school kids that don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
And they weren't trying, and they're like, "What's a video game?" I mean, they might as well have asked me that. We're talking about the same store I went to one time, Walmart, by the way, again, ladies and gentlemen. I asked the guy where the Velcro was, and he said, "What's Velcro?"
Are you for real?
Wow. I had
Wow.
a PlayStation loading screen moment where my brain exploded.
And he wasn't trolling.
He
Was
wasn't
like,
trolling. He wasn't trolling. I had to explain to him what Velcro was, and he obviously wasn't going to be able to know if he didn't even know what Velcro was. But yeah, I had to go find it myself. And I got the game, and my point was like, there are a lot of people, seeing that guy my age also buying the game, I was like, I guarantee you that he played the game back in '93, just like me, and now he grew up, or just like you, and now he grew up, and now he's here to do it all over again.
hmm
And we've lived long enough to see that. I guess it's not that long, but I mean, what was it? 93, 17 years. That's still some time.
That's still some time. Yeah.
16 years. It'd be 16. Or wait, no. I'm an idiot. That'd be 26 years.
Even more time.
Right.
Um, I kind of had I had the same, not same situation, but when I went to get my copy, there were like two left, and they were at the front because I went back and the guy tried to help me. He's like, I think I know another spot they can be at, and I think he said he may have he may have had some copies in the back, but yeah, there was two in the front. I'm sure they had to restock that, and I took the one. I think they had one left. That reminded me of the when I was in college when Ocarina of Time came out, and a classmate of mine, he was a huge Zelda fan too, and I just remember we walked in the class, we're like, "Are you ready?" Yeah, we like we. That's all we said. We already knew we were talking about Ocarina of Time. That was fun moments, man. When something like that, like you have some, you can relate to somebody like that. And when class was over, it's like, "You ready?" And I went to go get the game. I had just gotten there. I think it was at Best Buy when I got it. The guy had just restocked the shelves with it because they were sold out just that fast. And he had to restock it. I had just got there when he started restocking them, so I ended up still getting one that night. But man, that was fun times.
I'm debating whether or not I'm going to go out to Walmart after this and buy Dragon Quest. Whoops.
I,
Mic hit.
oh, I thought you got it.
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. That game looks. Now I don't know how it looks on the Switch. But my God, that game looks so good on PS4.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, Dragon Quest. This is a game that I'm definitely going to play, but it's not a run out on the first day and get it.
Oh, I see what you mean.
I can,
Yeah.
and plus also, financial issues, but
Yeah.
I'm definitely getting it soon.
Oh, okay.
Dragon Quest 11. What else is coming up? Still waiting to hear more about that Breath of the Wild sequel. Still keeping that in the dark pretty much. How do you feel about that, by the way?
What's that?
I mean, there's not much to base it off of, but I mean, any idea, any theories on what they're going to do with that new Breath of the Wild they're working on, or the sequel to Breath of the Wild? I call it Breath of the Wild because they've got looks like the same characters, same timeline, the same Link and Zelda.
I guess my question was, can they top this, or would it be more of the same?
Well, I'll say this. I have a very unpopular opinion in Zelda. I didn't like Majora's Mask. But
I know only one person that did like that game. I don't know too many
Really?
people that. Yeah, I don't know too many people that liked it.
seems like all the Zelda fans that I talk to are always just like all over that game.
I couldn't stand that game. I mean, when I got it, I think I always had an issue with a game that had either broken weapons. I know Breath of the Wild does it, but it doesn't bother me as much as it's not Secret of Mana. It was one of the Mana games that came out on PlayStation.
Oh,
when your fucking
God.
weapon kept
Yes.
breaking. I was like, oh, fuck this.
Yes, I know. I forget which one. Legend Man, I think it was.
Yeah, it's one of those. I was like,
You
fuck
get to
this.
build your own world.
And it's just the weapon breaking stuff. I can't handle this. And so, oh God, where was I going with that? Shit. We're talking about Breath of the Wild.
We're talking about how I thought that. Oh, well, let me say this. Yeah, Majora's Mask. What I was going to say is,
Oh, yeah,
I didn't like
Majora's
Majora's Mask. A lot of people were very skeptical and dismissive of Majora's Mask in the beginning. However, as time went on, it's become a favorite for people. So
Oh, I see.
I don't say, definitely, oh, well, this is just going to be, this can only be a disappointment after Breath of the Wild. They're using the same engine, it looks like. You don't know. They could do a similar thing like they did with Majora.
Yeah, I think well, not just weapons breaking, but which is not what Majora's Mask does. But I'm talking anything where I felt like I had a time limit. I mean, you had to do stuff before the moon hit or something, right? Because I did not play that all the way through.
Yeah, I didn't. I never beat it either. You had 3 days, and everything reset after every time you reset.
Yeah, I'm like, no.
It was puzzle based, really.
Another Twilight Princess I was excited for.
You want to talk about empty maps?
Well, yeah, but I don't dislike it, but I don't like it either.
Yeah, I've got plenty. I really like the game, but I do have plenty of issues with it. I just like the fact that they really took what they did with well, my thing is with the cell shaded one, the boat one. Damn it.
Wind Waker.
Wind Waker. My thing with Wind Waker, I got over the cartoonish look. That doesn't bother me really, but I liked a land-based Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it more looking back, but I felt like Twilight Princess was the first building up on what they did with Ocarina of Time. And plus, I also like the fact that it was the darkest looking Zelda game, the grittiest looking Zelda game ever. So I overlooked some of the more shortcomings, but as time goes on, I look back and say, yeah, they could have done this better.
See, I was into the I don't know if it's because of cartoons, and this was my first love because I've always drawn cartoons. I never I had a hard on for cell shade stuff, so I was like Wind Waker's look. I didn't want it to be all the time. I was like, I don't want the next Zelda game to look like this, but I appreciate it for this game looking like this for this particular game. And Jet Set Radio and all those. I had a thing for.
Yeah, I was just thinking of Jet Set.
Cell shaded stuff. I don't know too many. No. Well, no, it wasn't. I think majority of people, gamers overall, did not like cell shading for the most part. I used to hear complaints about that a lot, but I think now, Borderlands has kind of that look to it, but it's not as, it's kind of mix of it's whatever and the cell shade kind of mixed to it. So it has I guess the technology back then, I don't know. I always thought it was a cool look. I think too. I appreciate it. I think I didn't never have a problem with it because art to me, even with character designs and stuff, I knew that there's always different when it comes to art. There's always different ways to interpret stuff.
Yeah.
So I always appreciate it.
Did you see what Breath of the Wild looks like when they turn the cell shading off?
No.
It's weird. Because it's like half, gritty and half cell shaded. They look like clay. Everything looks like unnaturally smooth. Which is weird because I thought that's what the cell shading would do.
I think No More Heroes is cell shaded too. Well, I know it was on the Wii.
I remember Beautiful Joe.
Yeah, that's right. That was cell shaded. I fucking love Beautiful Joe games. They only did the two, right?
As far as I know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I played them. They were fun.
Oh, they're fucking amazing.
Let's see. The satirical video game takes aim at gun lobbyist. Or this satirical game. Brady Organization's League of Legislators urges congressional action. So apparently they made a game making a stab at politicians because nothing's being done about gun laws with all the shootings. Let's see here.
Wait, what is this game you're talking about?
It's called League of Legislators. It's made by the Brady Organization. League of Legislators, the game that ends gun violence. Yeah, okay. It says here, a new campaign from anti-gun violence organization Brady, formerly the Brady Campaign and Center to Prevent Gun Violence, called League of Legislators, mocks the idea of blaming gun violence on video games with a video game of its own. Created by Toronto agency Juniper Park, the platform game asks you to play as a representative attempting to pass gun reform legislations in Washington while dodging gun lobbyists and bribes. I wonder what platform it's on.
Steam. It sounds like a Steam game.
I think they're sharing it on social media. Might just be like a Flash game.
Okay.
If players fail to navigate the game's obstacles, they get corrupted and have to pick up from where they left off. After beating the game, they are met with the message, "Congratulations, you did your job. Now send this game to a member of Congress and tell them to do theirs." Huh. I'll pretty much get the message of that game. So how about that? Wow, that totally went south. How about that Sega Genesis Classic?
I hope I'm able to grab one sometime soon. And when I saw Died in My Head, he was on there. No, is that what? No, yeah, is that what I'm thinking about? Yeah. I was like, yeah, I got to get it because I got it off Steam, but my computer isn't running it well for some reason, and I don't have the original cartridge. So
you really like that game, huh?
Dude, I never got the chance to play it back in the day. Because the way I am with fighting games is the way I was with platformers. And I don't know why I passed that up when I I just don't know why I did at the time it came out. So I wish I had played it back then. But now that it's on this compilation of other games, I'm like, oh, I got to get it.
Yeah, I was surprised they had Eternal Champions on there. That was another game I thought was kind of obscure, especially when you have, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. Do they come? Are those coming on the mini?
What's that?
Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter?
I know Street Fighter is not MK and not NK games.
That's probably why they. What about Killer Instinct?
It's rare, isn't it? I don't.
Oh, was it?
Oh well, Microsoft owns the rights to that, I think. Or they have Rare, I mean. So I don't think you could put.
No, Rare was Nintendo only.
Well, I don't know who has Killer Instinct now. I know Microsoft. Well, yeah, doesn't Rare makes Killer Instinct? If I'm not mistaken, I think the current one is made by Rare. And I think Microsoft snatched them up because it's only on that platform. You can't get Killer Instinct on anything else.
I don't know, man. They put Alex Kidd on there. I don't remember that game being very good. But it's part of Sega, though. It's like, I think, their oldest franchise.
I saw somebody speedrun Comic Zone, and I remember winning that game, but I remember...
I fucking love Comic Zone.
I never got a chance to play that either. No, I played it at a kiosk. I think called a kiosk, right? And Toys R Us used to let you demo games. I remember playing it.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of those games was on my list to get. I just never got it. So all the games that's in this Genesis Mini is like games I missed out on. So that's pretty cool.
They've got Ghouls and Ghosts, Golden Axe, Beyond Oasis.
No, I have Golden Axe. I think I have the cartridge for that. I still have the original cartridge for that game.
Wonder Boy and Monster World. How about Vector Man?
I got 1 and 2, I think.
Great game.
They released those on Dreamcast. They had some Dreamcast compilation too. I think both Vector Man was on there. Both the answer to Donkey Kong Country. I played the shit out of Vector Man when it was out.
Kid Chameleon. I think I enjoyed like the mechanics, the gimmicks of that game more than the actual game. I think when I first saw it back in the day, I thought, oh, this is cool because of all the colors and you can turn into a samurai and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
What about Monster World 4? I'm not familiar with the Monster World games.
Neither am I.
Yeah. Road Rash 2. I love Road Rash.
Was that like a 2D? I don't think I ever played. Was it like it wasn't? Is this any similarities between that and not Twisted Metal? Well, I guess Twisted Metal.
You're a motorcycle racer in an illegal motorcycle race, and you can use weapons against the other racers, or just punch them.
Oh, that's all. Okay.
And you have to make sure that you avoid getting rolled by the cops.
Oh, okay.
Plus 2 bonus titles, Tetris and Darius.
I always liked the Darius games.
Never played it.
But then I was always into side-scroller shooters, space shooters, and like Defender back in the arcades back in the 80s. And top kind of, who else had it? I guess Galaxian, but it wasn't, you kind of set in one spot and get to shoot a bunch of shit. But yeah, those space shooters back then were pretty popular.
I'm trying to remember if I played either of the Disney games they have on here. Cast of Illusion and World of Illusion.
It was, I'm trying to compare that to Magical Quest. Because I remember Magical Quest came out, and when those two games came out, I was like, oh man, I wonder if it's as good as those two games. Oh, good as good as Magical Quest. I got one of those games. I got Castle Illusion because they did a remake of that game on 360, if I'm not mistaken, on Xbox 360, like updated graphics and everything. That's pretty fun. It's if they ever remade, I don't know how it would hold up. I know I would probably buy it if they did Magical Quest and
Like a
new
re-release?
graphics. No, like a remake. Yeah,
Yeah, if they kept it 2D and did like a graphics overall.
graphics overall. Yeah, I played the hell out of that game when it was out.
I love the fact that it was made by Capcom and all the similarities to the Ghosts and Goblins games.
Goblins games, yeah.
You notice that too? Like the final
Yeah.
boss was just like the devil.
Yeah. Oh, apparently, I don't know the guy's name because his name's in Korean, but I could swear he was on the Switch, playing Super Nintendo games, just like how we have it on the Switch. If you get the online subscription, you get to play all the old 8-bit games.
Mm-hmm.
He was playing Switch, if I'm not mistaken, but he had the Super Nintendo games.
Yeah, they've got those out now.
How come I haven't seen them?
Did you watch the last Direct?
No.
That's how I found out.
How do we get them? Or they?
You download an emulator from the Nintendo store, and then you can. Let me see. I think you have to pay a monthly fee, but it's really small.
It doesn't come with like if you do the yearly subscription that you already have, or did they let you add that to that?
I'm not sure. Let's find out. Let's learn something.
Mm-hmm.
With a Nintendo Switch Online membership, gain access to a large collection of Super NES games that are great to play anytime, anywhere. For the first time ever, you can play these classic games online. Use voice chat via the Nintendo Switch Online Smart, so you can shit talk and talk about banging the other person's mother while you're playing Mario Kart. Great. Mm-hmm. Complete or cooperate online with friends, share your screen, or virtually pass the controller. So let's get a list of games here.
I saw him playing Ghosts and Goblins or Ghosts and Ghouls. Which one is it?
There's both. I'm not sure which one it was.
Well, he was playing the Super Nintendo one.
I think it's Ghosts and Goblins.
Goblins, okay. And I saw him get to the last boss. The ending of that is, oh my God. What a game.
Okay, so here is a list of the 20 games. 20 classic SNES games come to Nintendo Switch, but we won't be getting more each month. Oh yeah, they've also released a limited, I don't know if it's a limited edition. Well, everything's a limited edition in the long run. But a retro-style Super Nintendo controller. Let's see here. Games. Brawl Brothers. Demon's Crest.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. When you were talking Ghosts and Goblins, I was thinking that. Joe and Mac 2.
Shit.
Kirby's Dream Land 3. Star Fox. Super EDF. Earth Defense Force. Super Mario Kart. Yoshi's Island. Super Puyo Puyo 2. Super Tennis. Breath of Fire. F-Zero. Kirby's Dream Course, Pilot Wings, Stunt Race FX, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Mario World, Super Metroid, Super Soccer, Super Soccer. Too many S's. It's all so fucking super. And The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past.
Yeah, because I saw him going through the library of those games. He was trying them out. Then he started. He wasn't speed running, but he was going through the Ghosts and Goblins or whatever one that was on Ghosts and Goblins. Yeah.
Yeah, the super fucking hard games.
I don't know if you ever seen anybody play Beat the Bosh. Beat the Boshi? Is that the name of it? Oh crap! What is it called? Something the Boshi.
I want to beat the Bashi.
Yeah, that game is retardedly hard. I saw the guy named Witwix. He's a speedrunner. I don't know if he plays different games now, but I think he is his he was originally was a speedrunner. At least when I first came upon him, he was doing that. He's like the like Tri-Hex 2. He is so good at games.
Tri-Hex fucking, I'm going to have an in-depth conversation with 5 people while I'm speedrunning Super Impossible Mario Maker level. And cook dinner at the same time while doing all that.
While fingering some hot chick.
So that means I'll be playing with my toes.
But yeah, Witwix is pretty good at games too. So I saw him play Beat the Boshi. Oh, I want to beat the Boshi. I saw this dude almost cry. It was, I don't know if you ever heard this game where it's a guy is like in a pot, like a black kettle or something. Big, what was those Looney Tune pots they you see in the cartoon they would cook Bugs Bunny in, and it's just you're a guy and you got a sledgehammer, I want to say, and you're trying to climb up to the top of the levels. It's hard as hell. I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, I've seen so many people rage over that game though, because it's so fucking hard. You'll get to a certain spot, and if you don't, you have to play with I've seen them play with a mouse and keyboard, and to try to get to the top of the stage with this sledgehammer. I don't think it's an
I know
axe.
the game you're talking about. Yeah, that game is ridiculous. I've seen people like break controllers over
that. Yeah.
You knew you were getting into. It's just like Quap.
Mm-hmm.
Just made to fuck with people. I was hellbent on beating that game, by the way. Quap. Never did get there, but I did start to figure out how things work. Poor Quap.
I gotta beat Cuphead, man. I gotta go back to playing that. I would say, like, for a game to be that hard, I never felt the need to get angry because I always felt the game doesn't feel cheap to me, except for that dragon. I thought the dragon was kind of cheap.
Well, and those people are starting to call games like that difficult. As long as there's a pattern that you can recognize, they're calling them puzzle platformers now because you just got to figure out the patterns and know where to move when.
But that's old school games used to do that.
Right, no, they're retroactively calling those games now.
Oh, they are? Oh, okay. Oh, I see.
Like all the Ghosts and Goblins games are getting called that now.
Oh, I see.
Now, that's not to talk about games that are unfairly hard or so random that it's impossible to memorize. You just got to get lucky.
Yeah, I don't like that. If you got to win by luck, I'm like, no.
No, that would be like Superman 64, which was just hard out of shitty design. There's other things besides difficult, but...
What besides that, what superhero game have you played, and what was the best one you've ever played, if you've played any?
Oh, I have. Let me think here. How loose are you going with the term superhero? Are we including the Ninja Turtles?
Yeah, we can say Turtles. Heroes, superheroes.
I really like Turtles 2 and 3, or Turtles in Time, as it was called in some...
Oh, my God. Oh, okay. So I had Turtles in Time on Super Nintendo. Was that at the arcade ever? I know.
Yeah, they had an arcade version. But I also like the first Turtles. It's really unpopular with a lot of people because of its difficulty, but I thought
I like that one too.
get
I like
used
that
to
one
it.
too.
If you get used to it, you get
Yeah,
you develop a taste for
yeah, I like that one too.
it. Other than that,
Damn. I guess I would have to say I thought Batman and Robin on Super Nintendo by Konami. I think yeah, Konami made that game. I think if I'm not mistaken,
I know there are definitely some good Batman games.
because it was just like the cartoon at the time, the Batman animated series. It had that art style to it.
Hmm.
God damn, that game was good.
The old X-Men arcade game was good too.
Good too, yeah. Yep. I don't
I
know if
mean,
I would.
I know these days like Arkham's a big deal, and that new Spider-Man where everybody was freaking out over the puddles.
Oh yeah. It turned out everybody. I have not heard really any bad since it came out. I don't remember people complaining about the puddles anymore.
Well, I think that was more over people getting outraged over developers making the trailers look better than the game,
Oh, okay, I can understand that.
and the puddles was just like the most noticeable difference.
Oh, okay. Um, yeah, Turtles in Time. I played the fuck out of that on Super Nintendo. Uh, Batman and Robin from Konami. I think it's called. I don't think it was just called Batman. I think it was Batman and Robin. That was such a fun game. Uh,
Remember that X-Men game on on the Genesis that had that cold open?
I kind of remember
There's
it.
no Sega logo. There's no opening credits. You just start
Just
your Wolverine in the snowstorm.
no.
I'll never forget that because that was the first game I'd ever played with a cold open. Pretty sure that
Hmm.
was the game. Pretty sure that was the game. And there was a couple of the Genesis games where you could interact with the Sega logo screen.
Was that through like different button presses?
You would like the character. Your main character was, I think, Vector Man was one of them.
Yeah, Vector Man
You'd
was.
be
Yeah.
on the Sega logo screen, and you could like shoot the logo and beat it up.
Yeah. What GameCube had something like that too. When you the system itself, I forgot how it's certain things, and it'll make different. Like one would squeak
Mm-hmm.
the cube out. The one had like a creepy girl saying GameCube.
Mm-hmm.
I heard somebody else talking about on Twitch, dude. I'm like, nah, that was creeped me out a little bit the way that sounded. But yeah, I don't know
You
if
had
they
to
do
have to
let.
sell your house because it's haunted.
That's why you can't give me no. When they said Alexa was like laughing, it had some glitch where it was laughing for no reason. I don't know if you heard about that.
No.
It was some time ago, a couple of like a few years ago. Alexa was doing some weird thing, like it would just randomly laugh. I'm sure it's fixed now, but I'm like, fuck that. I don't need that in my house. Well, not only the fact that the government probably watching you through
Well,
that thing too.
they're watching you through other things than that.
Things too. Right, I know, but
Might as well not give them another thing.
yeah. I'm good on the Alexa stuff.
Well, the big thing that people have been freaking out over lately is how they've been seeing advertisements pop up based on things that they were talking about, not even directly to their smart devices.
Oh wow.
They would just overhear it in the conversation, and then as soon as they got online, they would see an advertisement.
Jesus Christ, man. See, that's one of those things that I don't know, man. We get an app, you push that I accept button. It's like, what the fuck are you actually accepting? And little by little, we just allow so much shit to go on. Then we just condition ourselves to accept it.
Yeah. Well, you've seen, you saw or heard about all the hearings they had with Mark Zuckerberg last year about
Yeah.
how they were selling all that information to these companies, and he was saying, "I didn't know anything about that."
Oh man, you should check out. I don't know if it's on Netflix anymore. I got rid of it, but it was called. Oh God. In terms. How did he word it? What is the when you read those? things where it terms of service. No,
Terms and
not terms.
conditions.
Yeah, I think that was the name of the Netflix. It was like a documentary showing how much they fucking watch you. There was, I think it was in Europe. I want to say it was Europe. They were giving people speeding tickets from, they caught them speeding from a satellite and would mail them the speeding ticket.
See, yeah, fuck that.
And one guy, he was a novel. He was writing a novel. He was just looking up He was researching stuff for his novel, like murders and stuff like that. I think he was writing a murder novel. And he was, I don't think the FBI, I think it was being investigated at some point. It didn't turn out to be much, but because he was searching for the words on it, for his novel, they thought he was looking up how to kill people. It was weird. They had like a whole log. And this was around the time too. But anyway, my point was this documentary caught up with Zuckerberg, and they were like, "How do you feel being watched now?" And they had a camera following him and everything at the end of the documentary.
Fucking Zuckerberg. Yeah, none of this surprises me anymore. We're doomed. It's over. It's 1984, man.
I know.
We're gonna be locked up for just having this conversation.
Oh well, they expelled. Some kid got expelled for saying there's only men and women. So yeah, it's. I don't know how you fight against this crap, man. Other than just don't. I guess you got to fight it some kind of way. I just can't accept this. Just
Go out into the streets, and you know what? Never mind. I'm not even going to go down that road. I don't know. I don't know. But don't buy underdeveloped games, premature games. There's at least one battle that I think we can fight. I think I'm going to call it quits, man.
Me too. I got
It's been a long day.
I got a 6-pack of stuff to drink.
Yeah,
Not the whole pack, but something to kind of just go like, well, maybe this isn't watching me.
Yeah, or just get to the point where you don't care if they are, or forget.
Well,
that
I
they
still do because I have a child, and that again, a lot of stuff I would kind of be like, but I got a kid, and it's kind of like
Right.
I'm a little bit more antsy about stuff like that.
No, of course.
So,
speaking of being dad joke time.
did I mention what was it about somebody at work told me about the no stick pan, squirrels putting sticks in a pan. Oh, some goofy.
What? I mean,
I gotta find a joke.
I get the setup.
I'm screwing it up, but it was like
You just explain the joke backwards, I think.
Let's see if it comes to like the squirrel joke or something. Squirrel sticks joke. Like it's gotten to the point where I'm like, oh.
Even you are starting to cringe?
Yeah, even I'm starting to cringe at these things. What do you call a squirrel with no nuts? Female squirrel. Wow. What did the psychologist say to the squirrel with multiple personalities? You're one tough nut to crack.
Wow, that was funny back in 1932.
Why don't squirrel wear skinny jeans? Because their nuts won't fit.
Nuts.
Really, man?
Try.
They're not
nuts.
They're not even trying.
Every time it's squirrels, it's about nuts.
Like all these jokes is nut based. There's nothing like Let me get off this bullshit. I can't even find. I was trying to find the one I was told up at work, so I'm gonna have them tell me again so I can text it to you.
What's better than Ted dancing? Ted singing and dancing.
Man, I thought it was gonna be a play on somebody else's name. What the fuck?
No,
Look, man.
that is a play. His name's Ted Danson.
No, I know the first part. I thought the answer would be a play on somebody else's name.
Oh, I see. Like the Christopher Reeves joke.
Reeves. Yeah, yeah. Oh, did you? I don't know if I told you what's Christopher Reeves' kryptonite. It was something like that.
I feel like I've heard this, but I forget.
It's a bucking bronco.
What?
Because Christopher Reeve broke his neck because of a horse.
Right. I forgot what caused the. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the remake of Rear Window with him?
No, I've heard. I was meant to watch it, but it was always weird to see him. It's just like that movie he's in with when Morgan Freeman's a pimp, and he pimp slapped this bitch in front of Superman. It's funny. The slap was like hilarious because it's Morgan Freeman. He's like, Morgan Freeman slap bitches. He was a pimp in this movie, and Christopher Reeve. I don't know what.
Morgan Freeman did roles like that.
But he always had the same fate. But he was the guy on Electric Company. I don't know. Well,
yeah, and Robin Williams was the genie.
And yeah, I'm just saying, when I watched Electric Company back in the day, which it was a kids show on PBS, Spider-Man would show up sometimes, and Bill Cosby would show up sometimes. But Morgan Freeman was like a regular cast member.
Yeah.
And then you see him on there like this carefree, happy guy, and you see a movie him slapping bitches. It's like, damn, what a range of this actor. He's got some range.
Well, I've got a question.
Yes.
Does anyone need an arc? Because I know a guy.
Jesus fucking Christ. Jesus. Really? Where is... I'm trying to find I think I told you all the doofus jokes that was in that joke book I had. I still have.
You've told me a lot of doofus jokes.
Oh, God. Cheesy dad jokes.
Why did Cinderella get kicked off the football team? Because she kept running from the ball.
Oh, yeah.
What does a zombie vegetarian eat?
I don't know.
Grains.
Really, man? What's that one with the it was something like, what do you serve a zombie that's late to the party? It was like a cold shoulder or some shit like that. Like,
how many ears does Spock have? 3. The left ear, the right ear, and the final frontier.
I heard that one before. Oh my, I forgot about, what do you call an elephant that doesn't matter?
What?
An irrelevant.
I don't have a reaction. That's just like, I'm perfectly in the zone of what the fuck and holy shit. And they balance out.
I'm embarrassed that I find it laugh. I laughed. It's dumb. Yet I laughed.
What do you call someone with no body and no nose?
I thought I know it's gonna stop it. I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Son of a bitch. What do you do? Why do you never see elephants hiding in trees?
Why?
Because they're so good at it.
Oh, that was like a non sequitur.
Yeah. The rotation of the earth really makes my day. I would avoid I would avoid the sushi if I was you. It's a little fishy. To the man in the wheelchair that stole my camouflage jacket. You can hide, but you can't run.
Very good.
Oh,
Very good.
the fact that you even laughed at that, let's end it there.
All right, I agree. In the words of Abraham Lincoln, allegedly, I'm going to sign off by saying, whatever you are, be a good one.
Yes. That's all I can do is say yes.
All right, everybody. Good night, good day, good morning, whatever it is to you.
Later.
See you next time.